Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Listen, man. For those who don't know, tell the people who you are, man. Tell the people who you are real quick.
I'm Nick Sarazen. I'm born and raised in Rhode Island, and I'm back in my favorite state. And yeah, man, I'm grateful to be here and really, like tap in, to be back here. It's great, man.
Listen, tell the people, where does this story of you even being a producer start, right? We had the privilege and the pleasure to, attend one of your events recently at the Newport Mansion, me and Eric, and we spoke to your parents, right? And they're very proud, and they kind of gave us the breakdown of your story. But tell the people, for those who don't know, right, we see these articles, these headlines, these stories, right? Grammy nominated producer from Rhode Island, here in Rhode Island. Tell the people, how do we get to that? Where does the production story start with you?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you. That's so funny. I didn't even know you talked to my parents. That's hilarious.
They're mad cool.
They were just getting around everywhere. It's hilarious. Yeah, man. No, I grew up in North Kingstown, and I was like playing piano as a little kid.
How old are you now, Nick?
31.
31?
I just turned 31.
Damn,
Yeah,
you look 17, bro.
Thank you, bro.
God damn, Nick.
I know. I mean,
you look 17.
I don't know how I'm saying 31 right now, and it feels so crazy. Yeah. Like 30 was cool, now 31, I'm like, dude.
No, hey, listen, Marloon's gonna meet you soon. Marloon's turning 30 this year.
30, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. No, you none of you look like you could be 30 either. Like I feel like we all, all
it's that Rhode Island blood in us.
Exactly. Some in the water. There's some in the water for sure.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, I grew up playing piano, and like I remember not really connecting with, just like that music as a kid. And I have no older siblings, so I was like hanging out with my friends who all had older siblings. I remember in like 4th grade being like, man, I'm doing piano lessons for what? Like I want to like love music. Like I want to be listening to something that I really love.
Yeah.
I didn't really, my parents were, listening to whatever. And I remember, like hanging out with my friends' older siblings, and they started playing, shit like Lil Wayne and T-Pain and a lot of like the, Southern rap stuff. And I was like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
I think I heard like, I remember hearing T-Pain, and I remember hearing a lot of like DJ Khaled stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. Like I don't know what it is that I want to do, but like I want to like be a part of that. And I like downloaded Autotune. I remember as like a kid, like a cracked version on a terrible laptop, and I was like, "Yo, maybe I can sing. Like maybe I can be like T-Pain." And I've like quickly was like, "Nah, that's not this. I'm not cut out for that. This is trash."
Yeah.
But I was just like making beats on GarageBand in middle school, and like just trying my best to like, I wanted to be like on a DJ Khaled album, or like do what Lil Jon was doing, and all of that, and just like making the worst beats of all time, but not knowing. Like, like I feel like for a little while at least I was like, oh dude, like I'm gonna be sick. Like I was like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And luckily like didn't know how fucking terrible I was, so that I could like keep doing it and get better and better. But I don't know. I think I was just like a psycho kid because I was 12, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this forever. Like this is there's nothing else. Like I'm gonna just do this, which is crazy, but and then I just kept doing it through high school, and yeah.
Did you go to school for it as well, or were you just like straight up just doing it yourself, always independently?
Yeah, no, didn't go to school for music. I was like, my parents are like very academic and not a music background, like not at all. They were like, my mom's a scientist, and so they were like, you gotta get good grades, like you have to go to college no matter what you do, like, and then there was like a gray area where they were like, well, we don't care what you study, but we get to college, just like get into college, go to college, and then do whatever. And so I was like, all right, well, once I'm in, I'm just gonna like just do music. I studied psychology because I was kind of self-conscious that my parents would be like, "The fuck are you doing? Like studying music?" And I was like, "Whatever. All right, I'll make them happy. Do psychology, but just like making beats and just doing that through college." And yeah, no, but it was all like watching.
What software? What software were you like watching these YouTube videos of people producing and learning on your own, and actually like buying software on laptops, or were you going to studios? Like, what was that process of actually building the actual production?
Yeah, no, it was all just like I had a laptop, and so I started. It was like the family computer. My parents finally they were like, all right, we'll get like a MacBook or whatever. Which I was like, that's the craziest thing ever, and it came with GarageBand.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of the gateway where I was like, oh, it has GarageBand on it. Like, I'm gonna mess around there, and then went to I found a cracked version of Logic because I was like, oh, there's advanced from there. But I went all over the place. I was like in FL for a while, and then I switched over to Ableton end of high school.
Mm.
And then at that point, I was like learning Ableton a lot, and then it just kind of got to the point where I was like, all right, well, this is like what I'm used to using. Um, I wish I was in FL Studio still. Like I kind of fell off with my FL skills, but yeah, I've been in Ableton for over 10 years now, probably. But yeah.
Wow. And then what was that first artist that you worked with that you made some production for that you felt like, all right, this is something good. It's not that trash that I was making as a kid. This is actually something that I can build a career with, has potential, and then it grew from something at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was it was the first time that I started making remixes, which was right when I got to it was freshman year of college, and I was it was really just kind of a glorified mashup where I was hearing a bunch of different influences that I loved on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And it was actually a lot of Jersey Club stuff. This was 2013, and which was my freshman year of college, and I heard Jersey Club for the first time, and it was a lot of the legends from Jersey. It was DJ Slink and Tricks and DJ Trey, and hearing them remix 90s R&B and early 2000s rap and R&B, and I was like, oh, they're making versions of it that you can DJ easily and make them all the same BPM, make them very danceable, make them all kind of the same thing. And I was like, oh, well, what if I start taking a bunch of my influences and making remixes with that. And so I think that was the first time that I felt like my music was worth putting online somewhere. And
Yeah.
and that was the first time it was getting stuff on blogs, and other people were actually oh, this is sick, and DJs started playing stuff, and so that was cool. That was
What was
probably
that
the
first
time.
What was that first remix? What was it that you put it? Where did you put it? Was it on YouTube? Did someone see it on SoundCloud? What was that remix?
Yeah.
What did you remix?
It was this remix of it was the T-Pain and Chris Brown song off of the Three Rings T-Pain album Freeze. Which was it was the third single from that album, and it wasn't as popular as
It was a sleeper. It was a
sleeper. And it had these weird chords, and I flipped it into this Jersey Club thing, and then I also sampled this there was this French dude, Can Blaster, who had just put an EP out, and he had this song called I Think About You, and so I kind of mashed up I Think About You with Freeze, which changed the chords and did a Jersey Club thing, and it Can Blaster really liked it, and he started playing it a bit, and then there was this dude, Trippy Turtle, who is this producer Lido, who does a ton of amazing progressive R&B stuff today, Jordan Ward. He's the executive producer for Jordan Ward, but back then
Fire.
he was doing Trippy Turtle, this Jersey Club project, and he was the first person who heard it because he was doing Jersey Club. I sent it to him, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna play this out and DJ it, and that was kind of my thing where I was like, oh shit, somebody I look up to thinks this is sick. So
That's fire.
Yeah, then I kept going with it.
And then how did you go from there to now? Tell the people, what was that Grammy nominated moment, right? What's the difference in the years from that moment of actually the Trippy Turtle moment and now actually with the Grammy nomination, and how'd you even got to work with these artists now?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so that was that moment of the Trippy Turtle thing. That was beginning of college, and so then through college, I was making a little bit more remixes, and then I came back to I don't know if I want to make my whole thing be my own music that I have to put out and then I have to DJ. I think I still love the behind the scenes thing and make beats for other people. So I swung back to just making beats and just basically making folders that I was all right, well, I would love to figure out how to pitch these, like get these to places. But I had no connections. Like I was in school, I was still in Rhode Island, and I was kind of like trying to spend some like thoughtful time like following producers and songwriters that I looked up to like on Instagram, and like trying to figure out like meaningful ways to reach out to them that wasn't just like spamming to say like, oh, let me like send you some beats
Yeah,
and
yeah.
or like, oh, get me in the room
The
with like
stereotypical messages.
exactly. So it was like not spamming, trying to wait for the right time to like send stuff. And so I was like just kind of making a bunch of beats and like accumulating things, making folders and being like, okay, well if I like get the opportunity to like get in the room with a manager or an A&R or somebody at a label eventually, like this is what I'll play. Like
You're
I
prepared. You're prepared.
be prepared, exactly. But it was really just making beats for like, you know, nobody to hear. It was like, all right, when I get a meeting, like this is what I'll play. And so it was 2019. I had just graduated, and Sarah, my wife, had also just graduated college, and I was like, all right, well, fuck, like this is you know, we gotta like try to make something happen. We gotta
Yeah.
like connect with somebody. So then I started like really trying to DM people, and I thought the route would be like, all right, well, maybe I can like get a manager first. And so I like, you know, I had been following all these people, you know, just classic thing of like, look up an album that I love, who is the A&R, who's the label for it, who are like the songwriters and producers on it, and then, you know, just like
Start
try to
following them. Yeah.
follow them on it was like all Instagram, and you know, started like just trying to DM them, just trying to like get meetings. And
Yeah.
I was still in Rhode Island. And so then I started DMing and being like, hey, like I'd love to like, you know, pull up in, you know, 30 minutes, just like get a coffee or like play you some shit. And I pretended that I was in LA. Like I was like messaging people being like, yo, like, you know, just let me know when you have like, you know, 30 minutes, I'd love to pull up. And so then, you know, a couple, like, you know, vast majority, nobody responded, but a couple, whether it was, you know, it was like somebody who I had connected with kind of before and like, you know, maybe DM them before on, you know, or commented on something and they like, you know, didn't think that I was like a crazy person or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe like they responded. And so then it was January of 2019, I had gotten like a couple people to say yes. And so I was like, all right, fuck it. We need to like, let's just book a flight, crash on a friend's couch and like see what we can make happen in like 4 days. And it was in one of those meetings that I got to play a couple beats, and it was this one beat that I had made that ended up being, it eventually turned into the beat that was for D Smoke and Snoop Dogg, the Gasper Yanga beat. That eventually was the Grammy nomination, but it like, you know, a whole long thing where like one person said they really liked it, and then they were like, all right, well that'll lead to, let me introduce you to this person. Let me like, you want to go make beats with this person, or you want to like write in the room with this person. But then, you know, that there was like this one beat that I kind of, you know, I like really believed in it, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like keep trying to get this into the right places. And I eventually got a meeting at Warner Chapel and got to play it for an A&R there. This dude Wallace Joseph, who was like, oh, this is sick. Like I'm gonna text it to. He was like, I do Wale and D Smoke, and I think it was one other person, but he like took the beat, texted it to D Smoke, and then D Smoke FaceTimed me like a week later, and he was like, I love this. I want to use this.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so it was already a pre-made beat that you had, you believed in it, you pushed it, you know, literally across the country to now where it became something that fell into D Smoke's hands. So how does it go from a D Smoke track? For those who don't know, D Smoke, right, the winner of the Netflix show that we loved here, we watched here. We interviewed the runner-up, our guy Flawless.
Yes.
Which is another Rhode Island connection, which is crazy.
Yeah, shout out Flawless. Shout out Flawless. Yeah,
which
that
is
was
crazy.
I think that was the same season.
Yeah, same season of Rhythm and Flow on Netflix. And D Smoke got the beat. How does it turn into now D Smoke and Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, so D Smoke, I guess I think that he had connected with Snoop through the show, because I think Snoop was like
like a celebrity host or like a appearance he made on the show.
Exactly. And I guess from that they had connected, and then I think Snoop had said like, you know, let me know when you have the right record. Like I'm gonna get on. I'll get on a record with you to D Smoke. And so when D Smoke got the beat, he like wrote the whole song, and he wrote like the hook part and kind of a section that he was like, I want to give this to Snoop, like, so I can hand it to him and he'll just like get on this part. Um, and I think Smoke's album was pretty much done, and so I was like coming in at the end, and he was like, oh well, I'm like I think this will be a single, like I really love this thing. And he was actually like full circle moment. He was down in Miami with DJ Khaled for some reason, like at the time that he had got the beat, at the time that he was recording to it. So he had FaceTime me with DJ Khaled, with Khaled being, doing like the classic thing, being like, yo, like this is it, this is the one, blah blah blah. Which I was like, dude,
You living your dream.
I'm a massive fan. I'm like,
This is crazy.
want to put it on your album? But
Yeah.
it was for Smoke, which was amazing. And so then Smoke was like, yeah, I'm gonna send it to Snoop, and like
Yeah.
I want him to get on it. Which that was like one of the first placements that I got, and it actually worked out and actually panned out. Which I mean, I learned like quickly after that there's so much like you take so many shots, and like artists take so many shots to be like, I believe in this song, I'm gonna try to give it to this person, and it usually doesn't work out. Like it usually is like, you try to get from one place to the other, and it doesn't really work out. But in the beginning, I was like, damn, oh my god, does it really work like this? Like if you believe in something, like it, you could actually see it through the finish line, and like it's definitely not how it works. But like that one gave me like so much hope to be like, oh shit, like I think I can do this. Like I'm gonna keep trying to like make this stuff happen. But it was crazy to see that. I mean, it was like such a dream come true.
And what was the Grammy nomination category again?
So he was nominated for Best Rap Album, which
Yeah.
like to be a part of something like that is I couldn't think of another category that I would like
Yeah,
want to
that's
be
crazy.
involved in. And then he was also up for Best New Artist that same year too, which
Yes.
was super sick. But
Fire,
yeah,
fire.
the album lost to King's Disease, Nas, which was
Yeah.
Nas's
First Grammy.
insane. I mean,
Crazy.
like
Yeah, we were just talking about that shit too.
crazy. I mean,
Were you there at the Grammys for that? Were you there?
No.
In attendance? No.
dude, it was COVID. It was like the
Oh,
COVID
yeah.
Grammys, like
Yeah.
pre everything. It was like still super fresh. So it was like it did happen, and it was like they hosted it outside of Crypto,
Mm.
which I don't even know if it was Staples Center or Crypto at that time.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
That's
no, I
crazy.
didn't get to go.
That's great. And then now, going from that moment, right? How many has it opened a lot of doors? You being now a Grammy nominated producer, working with D Smoke, Snoop Dogg, 2019, the Grammys, and now we're still here. Nick, the producer, doing big things in Rhode Island. 7 years later, has it opened a lot of doors for you as a producer in your career?
Yeah, and it really did. I mean, I like it happened so early in my like professional career, and like it felt like I had been doing it, like making beats for so long. It was like from being 11 years old until when that happened, I was 24 or 25, 24
Wow.
maybe.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was doing it for a long time, but then I kind of was like recalibrating and being like, oh no, this is like, now I'm like, doing this professionally. So I'm like brand
Just getting
new.
started. Yeah.
Just getting started. I was like, okay, now I'm, all that time to just like begin right now.
Yeah.
I think that like it definitely did a lot. It definitely like, helped just give me like both like honestly, like personally, it I hate to say this, but like, because the awards and all that shit like should not matter, and it really does not matter. But like it definitely like helped me personally be like, oh shit, like I am good. Cause like I like, I was doing it and loving it, doing it because I loved it, but like not necessarily knowing that it like was possible. 'Cause I didn't know anybody in music. I didn't know anybody who had like it had happened for, or like, not like it would happen for me, but like got the opportunity to be there.
Yeah.
So it gave me a lot of confidence, and like helped me to go forward with it. And weirdly, like around the same time, I was like, what I had always wanted to do was like make beats and like be in that world. But I was also getting pulled into the like pop world, because that was kind of like the first, kind of simultaneously like the first entry point into like professional music, whatever the fuck that means. Like,
Yeah.
in LA for me. because the reason I got connected to Warner Chappell was through this songwriter, Michael Pollack, who is an unbelievable songwriter. He just wrote Flowers for Miley Cyrus, and he executive produces Miley. But at the time, he had just written Memories for Maroon 5, but it hadn't come out yet. But like he was somebody like through a manager like I had connected to, and we started writing a bunch. He's the one who took me to Warner because he was signed to Warner Chappell, but he eventually signed me like a year later. But he pulled me into a session one day and was like, "Yo, I have this brief for this like J Lo movie and a J Lo song," and he was like, we could just like try to write for this. It was called like the song needed to be called "Marry Me." And we ended up writing the song that became the "Marry Me" song for the movie and all of that. So it was like the combo of those two things that like, it felt like all the preparation kind of like led to that moment for like things to finally click, like
Yeah.
something finally work out after pitching, zillion beats and like hitting up a fucking million people for
Yeah.
meetings
Now you're
and
finally in the industry. That's fire. And then so J Lo, what are some other bigger names you've worked since then, right? So J Lo, that's huge, right? I remember that movie when it came out and that the music behind it. So you were a part of that. What are some of the bigger names also since then as well that you've collaborated with or been able to partake in some creation of music with?
yeah, I been so lucky to work on, stuff for J Lo, stuff for Bieber, Ariana Grande, Addison Rae, Jack Harlow, you know, like
Oof.
just yeah, like very a lot of those like coming in with producers and writers who are much bigger than me, and just kind of like getting a chance to like come into those rooms and kind of like use one song or cut or credit to like try to help meet another songwriter or producer that kind of like leads
Yeah.
to that place. Um, but yeah, it like turned into a lot of pop music, which I love. I love pop music, but it kind of went there sort of unintentionally. Just
It
kind
wasn't
of
what you planned initially, especially
no.
when you're coming from the Jersey beats and the remixes and stuff, and it's like you go into the pop world and you're talking about the top of the top pop, like the Bieber. What was the Bieber collaboration specifically?
So that was through Pollock too, and so
Fire. Shout out to
he
Pollock, man.
yeah, for real, and he it was kind of right at the he met this songwriter, this dude All Day, who's so talented, and All Day he can do this voice where he sounds exactly like Bieber on the mic, which got him. He's done so much Bieber stuff, and like a lot of the Justice album.
Mm.
So it was like right around that time, and I went into a session with Pollock and All Day, and it was like the first of all of us really like meeting. Besides Pollock and I, we had been writing
Yeah.
a little bit together, um, but it was like a total pitch thing. Like it was not with Bieber in the room, but we were just like making ideas. Um, and we made this song called "Don't Let Me Wake Up Alone." It's not out yet, but and I don't know what project or when it would be released, but I like it was one that happened fast too, where we like made the demo. All Day sang it, and he like sounds just like Bieber, so it already sounded like a Bieber
Yeah.
song.
So he can make the perfect reference track then, because if like Bieber's voice is damn near identical, that's fire. Then
Exactly.
that's crazy.
And then pretty quickly too, I wasn't in person, but I got a FaceTime with Bieber cutting it and like hearing him be on the record, and like it was surreal to like hear
Wow.
the shit that like we wrote, like him be like, hell yeah, this is it, and like copying it, like just like he's like a fucking scientist. Like he's
Crazy.
so laser good. Like it's so ridiculous. I mean, he's so sick. And honest, I loved that his Grammy performance last night.
Oh,
I thought it was
was just
really
talking about that
sick.
shit. I'm like, that was fucking incredible. He went
So
out in
sick.
boxers and just bodied Yukon
Crazy.
straight, just raw right there, just doing it, the beat live and everything. That was insane. I love that. I love that.
Crazy.
So, and give some people kind of like a inside scoop of how it works, right? You're doing this stuff, and I'm assuming from what I've known, how it works in this world. You are a part of these songs, these albums, these projects, and you get credits, right? You get credited. How does that work? Like, is it something where I'm assuming obviously now you've been able to live off this and you're doing this like for a living. Is it something where you get these placements and like a bigger the placement, you get like check in the mail every month, right? Like how to talk about like the actual living and going from a kid who just had this dream as a kid, and now how is the business side of what you're actually doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great question, and honestly, like I have to be so honest. Like,
Yeah.
it really, some of my biggest cuts have not been the thing that like sustains me, which is crazy. And actually, like even with that stuff happening, like I signed my publishing deal with Warner in 2020, and like that was like the most amount of money I had ever seen. And it was not a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
it was like not a fucking $1 million, not even fucking close. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like a regular, like I had no cuts, like first publishing deal, like and I was like, oh my god, like I made my first dollar from like being in music. Like this feels insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man. I mean, it's like just in the era of like Spotify and streaming and like things don't pay out and whatnot, and it's a lot of like it's also a lot of like industry kind of like if you're new, you kind of and you have an opportunity and a song's coming out, then like a lot of the times like a bigger producer will come on just
Mm.
because they have the ability to, and they'll be like, no, 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 like I need to fix this, this, and this. Um, and you have no choice but to just be like, yeah, cool, like you're more plugged into the project than me, like whatever, and then kind of splits go down and down and down, and
Wow.
then labels are like not really they'll do whatever they can to like not have to give you like a big producer fee or anything. So like, no, dude. I mean, I for like, I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I can say like exact amounts, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, man. I have to be so honest. Like, even my like biggest cuts have not made it really be a thing to like just one thing where it's like, oh, every month now I'm getting like a big check. It's
Oh
it's
wow.
it's much more like a slow build of like, let me see if I can like get a lot of songs to like be out and all that stuff to then kind of add up to this thing that is more of like a steady thing. But I mean, I don't think that like, I don't know. I haven't seen a level where it's like it's either like you have a massive song, like a fucking huge number one,
Yeah.
and then like a nice percentage of like the publishing on that song, to then that like puts you at a level where you're like, oh dude, I'm fucking crushing it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Set.
which I have not done. Like I feel so grateful for the success that I've had and all that stuff, but like it's not at that level at all.
Yeah, but
And
it could
it's
happen though, and it's going to happen because you are there, man. You know what I'm saying. So as long as you're in the rooms, and that's just bound to happen. You know what I'm
totally.
saying. That's just bound to happen, bro.
Oh no, I'm not stressed about it at all. It's just like part of something I want to do too is like I feel like no one really talks about. It's so like not talked about for like
Hell
what
no.
is it
Yeah.
what is it like as a songwriter or producer to like live and make money. And I think that like I it would have helped me so much for like somebody to be like, this is what it actually looks like if you're like making these kinds of songs and they come out, like this is what you could expect, like this is how you could actually like plan for your life, and like how are you going to pay rent and how are you going to do this. And it's very like even mentors and stuff like would not talk about it. And like eventually I would come to find out like some mentors that I had would eventually open up and be like, yeah, like I signed a publishing deal and it was like, they gave me no money and it, locked me in forever. And, people who were making like number ones for like 10 years and not seeing any of that money for that whole time. So like them
That's crazy.
being like having huge songs on the radio, but like, fucking barely being able to fucking pay rent. I honestly don't even know where they were making money at that time, but then like having to get out of these contracts and then eventually like not be, maybe not sign another publishing deal and then like
Yeah.
have their publishing going forward or, whatever it is. But it's like it's tough, man. And I think that, I think it's one of the best jobs you can have in the world. But I also feel like it's really important for like people to, just be aware of their business and like know how to not get fucked over and know like where to look for signing deals that are fair and all of that shit. Like I think that it's like so important for people to
Yeah,
know.
I would imagine. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that enough, and like they don't understand like the idea of the splits and the idea of credits and having the things written down. Like I would imagine, like if you just made a song in the studio for like a big artist, and what is that? Do you have to like do paperwork right there in that moment? Like at the end of the day, like let's say you made this big record for Justin Bieber, right? And you're working with this big producer, but you also put in your work as well. You write, let's say, part of the hook, and you do some of the outro beat. You do it fully yourself, the outro beat specifically. At the end of that session, you guys feel very happy about it. This is something, this is going to be a hit. What do you do? Do you guys have to sign like some paperwork? Like, okay, let's put our splits right here, right away before we leave this room. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like in a way it should work like that. I've never had it there where it's been like, all right, great, this is like what we've done. This is like let's put it down, let's record this. But one thing that I will say that I think is great in pop music that I like quickly learned was the culture of pop music is like if you were in the room making the song, whether you're like if you're a writer or a producer or whatever, you were contributing to it, like a lot of people are like, we're gonna do equal splits, like from being here in this room, from a publishing side. So
Yeah.
on the publishing, like if you're a producer or you're a writer in the room or whatever, also the artist, like we're gonna split the publishing evenly, which I mean, it doesn't always work out that way all the time, but at least that's like a nice place where like there's a pretty good understanding for it to start there. But it starts there. Then it's like, okay, well if you made the song as a pitch record and you're like 3 songwriters and a producer in the room, now everybody has 25%, but then it has to like go, you have to get that song somewhere if the artist wasn't already in the room. So then that's where things start to like, eventually by the end it'll go down, but it's sort of this thing. There's a feeling of like, well, feels impossibly hard to like get a pitch song, for example, like across the line to an artist that like, and eventually have it come out, them cut it, then have the artist decide like this is gonna make the track list,
Yeah.
then it's gonna come out. That like it usually doesn't get fully discussed of like how it all works out until the very end. And
Wow.
then at that point, it's a very like, that's when it's good to like have a manager or like definitely have a lawyer, because that's usually when it kind of falls on the releasing label of that artist who's putting the song out to be like, okay, now we're sending out the paperwork now for the splits. And so then, sometimes you can get like the like splits offer from the label and, be surprised in a terrible way and be like, what the fuck? Like, this is like, you want to give me like 1%, 2%, 5% because like, this person came on the record later that I didn't even know about and, XYZ.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like a back and forth and it's like a, like lawyers and managers like negotiating kind of thing. But you really have to like, a lot of the time you have to stick up for yourself and you have to like kind of have your receipts.
Yeah.
If it gets there to be like, no, like I was in the session, like here's the actual session itself on my computer. Here's the, here's the voice memos, whatever, which, you pray it never like gets to those conversations, but it is not a clear cut thing. And by the time it comes out at the end, it can kind of be a lot of like conversations like that. But
That's why we see all these stories of people like coming out like, I didn't get paid for this song. I didn't get paid for that. All the time. There's always a random lawsuit or a random like, I produced this. And people are like, well, I thought he produced this. It's like, oh, always after the records come out. And that's why we also probably see a lot of unreleased shit where like they have so much fire that never sees the light of day. And a lot of producers who be like, oh, like you said, like, you've worked on some stuff. You have a whole, Bieber record that hasn't come out. And it's like, that happens a lot because to them, it's like, they're these big artists, big stars, it's just practice. But for you guys, it's like, it's practice too, but it's actually your living, so it's like, because it could quickly go from practice to life-changing. If it gets pushed out, it's like your life could change, but it's like, if it's not, it's just sitting somewhere. It's like being shelved. It has to be crazy. Is there some songs aside from like the Bieber song where like maybe another artist, maybe Ariana or like someone big in the pop world that you've done that you feel like it could have been something that is currently shelved? You don't even got to name it if you can't say specifics about it. But is there like a song you think that comes to mind of yours?
Yeah, Yeah, man. There's so many, and it's so funny you're saying this. Like, I was with my artist Julia yesterday, and like just going down this rabbit hole of being like, oh shit. Like, I was like referencing one song that I did and been like, oh, like, you know, let's I want to play you this thing, and then being in like the folder. It was like the folder from 2023 or whatever, and just like seeing those songs and remembering that again,
Yeah.
being like, oh my god, I forgot about this song. Like, this was gonna come out. This was gonna be a thing. I would say the songs that I'm proud of the most, that I really love, that like didn't come out or like that leaked. I did a ton of the first Addison Rae record. Like we did a whole album that was like the first album that she had made, that never came out. And it was like a whole label dispute thing, and like she was in a label deal, and then she wanted to get out of it, and it was, you know, like a disagreement there, which she then did get out of. And she met Charlie XCX around that time, which then Charlie started like pseudo managing her, and then got her to Columbia, where she is now, to put out that album that is incredible, that just came out.
Yeah.
Or, you know, came out a few months ago, but that's like why she was nominated for Best New Artist. But we did a whole album that I like. I love all the songs. There's some of the like the best beats I ever made. But it's funny because somebody actually leaked the whole thing, and so it's like it's online, like it's all there. Like you can.
Yeah.
There are like, you know, Addison Rae like pop stans who like love.
Was
that
it you,
shit,
Nick?
and-
Did you leak the
Dude,
album?
you know, I've always grown up being like, man, like remember when the whole first version of the Carter 3 leaked,
That
and
was
then
crazy.
like Wayne had to do the whole
shit again.
new album again.
That shit was crazy.
I mean, I feel like we got so blessed to like have technically like 2 Carter 3s as fans.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I always wondered, I was like, will I ever get to the place someday where like somebody leaks my shit? And then it
Now you're
happened, and
done
I'm
with
like,
it.
and I still have no clue how it happened. Like I thought that like maybe if it happened to me, like I would have some insight to like how it did happen.
Yeah.
No idea. I have absolutely no
That's
clue.
crazy.
And it's like the bounces like from my computer, like the shit that
Wow.
like I was the sole producer, like that MP3 left my computer, like, and somehow I just don't know who it went to after that, and then
That's
it
crazy.
leaks. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Look, I can imagine that the Addison Rae stuff, man. That's who knows. Like if at least one of those songs were taken, she already had big shit on the recent album. But imagine, you know, if it had something, it was something that you had to do with, and it became like a single or something, and like God knows, like that's where the life changing shit. Or it's already, your life's already changed, but even on a different level, you know, it could take off. But I know it's definitely gonna happen. You've been teasing some stuff, right? He has, for those who don't know, this studio, and talk to people about the studio. You built this studio inside of a mansion here in Rhode Island, Newport Mansion. Some of the most expensive and craziest mansions in the world are here in Newport, Rhode Island. And inside of one specifically, you have built this studio, and you keep teasing something about a potential big artist maybe coming to Rhode Island, right? What can we speak about today?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it really feels like a dream come true, and in the most important part of that dream is this thing that I've always had of like, I love Rhode Island. I love where I'm from so much. It's where I'm the most inspired. And
Yeah.
like, I remember being a little kid and just thinking like, man, wouldn't it be so sick if like you didn't have to go anywhere to like make like work with people, make these like fucking connections, like, and have it sort of be this hub. I'm not trying to avoid that question at all. I can't
Oh, you're
say
good.
specifically who it is coming yet, but I will be able to, like, once they're here and once it's done. But what I will say is that you know, so the mansion studio, I'll say like how that came together. So I got so lucky to meet Carolyn Rafalian, who is another Rhode Island legend, like, you know, the founder, CEO of Alex and Ani, who she, you know, designed all the jewelry, did it all here in Rhode Island, made it all in Rhode Island, like the factories in Cranston. And I didn't know her until like 2 years ago, and we had got connected. But at that time, I was looking for, so I was full time in LA with my wife Sarah for 2019 to 2024, and so then, you know, we were coming back here so much that we were like, we'd love to, like, you know, we were always like, as soon as the point happens where like we could really put roots back down in Rhode Island and be able to like make it work career wise, we're gonna do it. So
Yeah.
um, we in 2024 did that. It was really like my wife being like, we just gotta like make the leap, and we gotta like really put roots back down in Rhode Island. This is where we need to be. This is what we love.
Yeah. Home. It's home.
It's home. And so I was like, all right, I'm like looking for, I need a small space that like isn't in my house or somebody's house that like, I can bump. Like I can really play music loud, not feel like I'm disturbing anybody. So I was like, maybe I could find like, something scenic that like I could attract artists from not Rhode Island to
To
convince
come
them to
here.
come.
Yeah. To come here.
So I was like, maybe I could find, maybe somebody would rent me like a barn or something, like something beautiful. Maybe it's like, close to the water. We just, like feels like remote, feels like a retreat for an artist or something. And, I was like, I don't care if it's like fucking falling apart. Like I'll, try to put drywall up, maybe
Yeah.
put some electric, whatever,
Renovate it.
renovate it. And I never found that, but I connected with Carolyn, who, she's a visionary, and she owns Belcourt, and so she not only owns Belcourt, but she bought Belcourt in 2012 with the like as her like restoration project, because
Wow.
it was falling apart, like truly, and it had been falling apart. It's from the 1800s. It's been falling apart and not being taken care of for, I don't know, like 50, 70 years, like just
Yeah.
kind of slowly. And I guess when she got it, it was like, ceilings were caving in and
Damn.
water was leaking, and, just like open air, being able to come in there. So she put so much like, she was so successful with Alex and Ani, and she wanted to restore this place. It was like, part of her passion thing. But I think she like finished what she was doing around 2020, and, did a lot of restoration to it. But apparently her like dream was like, I want to make this a creative hub. Like I want to make this a place that like Belcourt has a history of like, it had, so many famous jazz artists that come in like, the 40s. I guess like Miles Davis had come and played there. And so it had hosted a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah.
And she wanted that to happen again. So a friend of hers connected us, and the friend was like, tell Carolyn about the studio idea, like pitch putting it in Belcourt. I was like, I'm gonna meet this woman for the first time and like have the audacity to be like, oh, let me put a studio in your mansion. Like I was like, that's insane. Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I sat down with her and she brought it up. She was like, oh, like I heard you're looking for a place for a studio, and like, Belcourt, it's made for music and like all this stuff. Like, what does that mean? Like, what would that look like? And so then she like, teed me up to be like, this is how a studio works. This is kind of what I'm seeing. Like I'm looking for a place to like convince artists to come to Rhode Island and have it like be a hub to
Yeah.
like, both artists to come to Rhode Island, but also a place to like really lift up the community here, people who are doing music here,
Yeah.
give them an opportunity, anything from engineers to producers to songwriters to artists, to like give them a connection to be able to do music for a living that is an actual jump off point in Rhode Island, and not have to like, somehow like have the ability to be like, I'm going to like uproot my life and like go move to LA. Like,
Yeah.
which is like such an impossible thing to do. And so, yeah, that's kind of like, that's how that came together. And since it happened, I was like, I mean, I can't believe how lucky I got to get a place that like, it honestly has nothing to do with me. It's like I'm not the reason that like people want to come to Belcourt. It's like they get to come be in a historical mansion and like be around that and be inspired. So I mean, I give all of that credit to Carolyn, because like I feel like that is the place that it's like doing all the work for me of like convincing people who have never maybe even thought about Rhode Island to like come think about Rhode Island and come work here.
No, listen, I hope it keeps growing. I love the idea right away, and I was like, yo, imagine I could see this shit be a place where like Taylor Swift does a whole album.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Especially because she, her summer crib's right nearby. You know what I'm saying? Getting married right nearby, and it's like now she, she heard about this, this actual studio in Rhode Island and this mansion. And it was Nick who's worked with all, some of her friends probably. You know what I'm saying? A peer group. So it's like I think it would be. It has a lot of potential. So what's the name of the studio and how does it work? Can people currently book the studio right now?
Yep. Yeah. So it's the studio at Belcourt. The website is studio@belcourt.com, and then email to book is just studio@belcourt@gmail.com. It's 100% open for booking. It's open for use, and we've had, like I said, a couple of my like favorite artists who have like come into town and started to use it, but we've also like had some amazing artists from Rhode Island here come to use it.
Fire,
Euro has been to the studio, which is amazing. Shout out Euro.
fire.
And yeah, so it's like ready to be used, and I'm trying to make it a space that like could serve everybody, like whether you're a band or you're just a singer who's doesn't need a whole assortment of things, or if you're a rapper or whatever it is. Like I want it to like be a multi-purpose kind of, you can make it what it needs to be, sort of thing.
No, I love it, man. I'm excited. I gotta visit it again soon, and I think that people gotta support it because the idea is very unique, man. And I think it has so much potential. And then also, you've gone viral a lot of times. People might know Nick for these secret parties that you throw. Right? Talk to the people about these secret parties and what was the craziest one you've done so far and the biggest turnout as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it is. I feel like it kind of all plays into the same sort of idea where I'm like, you know, I that it's also what I admire about you, like how passionate you are about Rhode Island and being here and in the culture here.
Oh yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And it's like, why can't the things that like we love happen right here? Like, there's no reason that for like concerts, like radius clauses on artists coming, and like everybody goes to Boston, or everybody, obviously everybody goes to New York, which makes sense, but it's like, why wouldn't it just happen here? And the Sosa Radio, the Secret Beach Rave or the Secret Rave stuff just happened purely to be like, well, I wanna hear this kind of music. I wanna like have, these like parties and shit of like the stuff that just I want to do, and that my friends I feel like would want to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, let's just do it ourselves. And it just started as a thought of like, instead of having to go, nothing wrong with going to a club or to a bar, but like I wasn't, I like didn't have any like real connections to just be like, all right, well, let me like start DJing at this club or whatever. And I also didn't want to like, there's already amazing stuff going on, so I didn't want to like go in and have to like, take up somebody else's time. And I was like, well, why don't we just like find a spot? Like what would be stopping me from going to, a park or a beach or
Yeah.
whatever, and popping up and doing that. I've learned a lot, and it's permits, and it's, like all of the stuff that you have to go through and do it, which has ended up being an insane amount of work. But I feel like it is really worth it, because we did one at Second Beach in Middletown last summer, and it was like that crazy storm of like, I was gonna be so hyped for like 200 people to come. Like I'd be like, that's
Success, yeah.
just so many fucking people to like see and be like, oh, we're just like here listening to music. And when I started posting about it, I was spending a lot of time with Audrey Finocchiaro of the Nitro Bar, who has had amazing success with, obviously the Nitro Bar is going crazy, and like social media stuff with that. So she had like kind of been like coaching me to be like, you need to like kind of think in a marketing way and like talk in a, like this sort of style, and like, just try to like tell your story that way.
Yeah.
Which kind of turned into the Secret Rave thing. And the first like very simple like 6-second video of just like me walking, and has the little like text on screen of like, throwing a Secret Rave or whatever, went crazy, and
Super viral.
like that was the first time anything I'd ever posted really done that. And I ended up I had like set up a text list, because I was like, for a couple of reasons. Like, I don't want it to get blown up, so I can't just like put the location out now, because like then, I'm sure it would get shut down.
Yeah.
But also just to like guarantee that I could get people to come and like give them the information. I was like, I'm going to just set up a text list, and, when it comes close to the time, I'll be able to like text what the exact location is. And for that first one, 20,000 people signed up to be on that
Crazy.
thing. And I was like, okay, all right, this is way bigger than like I'm not. Then it was kind of like scrambling to be like, okay, well, like I need to make sure 20,000 people don't show up because I will go to jail
Yeah.
and it will be this whole thing. And I was also started to be like, now I'm responsible for like the safety
Yeah.
of however many people show up. So I need to
Yeah.
like do my due diligence of like are people going to be safe? Is it like do they have bathrooms? Do they have like everything that you need for that? So I had to like kind of quickly learn that, and I feel like I'm learning a lot every single time we do one. But it'll be back this summer, and I'm so hyped for it, and we're doing a lot of like work to make each one better and better, and yeah, we've had ones that like the permits didn't work out, or like it got rained out, or which is always something that can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to like make sure that I do everything possible on my end to like have people be safe, have it be a good time, have it be something that people really like want to go to, and just jump through all the like red tape to have to do all that stuff. But yeah,
No, it's genius. Listen, for those who don't know, for context, what Nick does, right? So he does this post where it's like, I'm throwing a secret rave party here in Rhode Island on a beach. Let's say it could be, he can add a theme to it. Let's say for Valentine's Day or something. Valentine's Day, single people want to have a secret rave party, on a beach here in Rhode Island on this date. And then he'll put up like the website, right? And then people go to the website, and then you sign up, you put your number or your email. And then for that one specifically, you said you had 20,000 people sign up, right? And then you get the text closer to the date with the confirmations and the more details to actually, it's like, okay, now you can actually go, and this is where you actually go. It's crazy. It's genius. And now you're able to also collect all this data, because now you have all these people that you could just add to a fucking newsletter. It's genius, right? It's how many do you think you have in total so far, like numbers and like emails, would you say?
I mean, I know exactly. I've right now it's at like 31,000
Wow.
change numbers, but like I'm appreciate people being like, I don't get a lot of messages of being like, are you just like collecting our data just to like sell it, which I would never fucking do.
No,
Like
no,
it
no.
never ever ever. Because also that's the like type of shit that's just like happening with other artists.
Everything.
And, yeah, I mean everything for sure, but also
Yeah.
like in major label systems, like that's kind of how all that shit works.
Yeah.
So like people's trust means a lot to me, that I'm like, I'm showing you that like this you're signing up for just this one thing. If you want to go to one of these parties, like
Yeah.
that's what you're signing up for. If you don't want to go, you unsubscribe, and you will never get a message that has anything anything to do with not the rave. Like
Yeah.
never ever ever.
And you call it, what's it called?
So radio.
Social radio.
Yep.
Social radio. And you DJ all of them, right? You're the DJ in all of them, right?
I am. That's not the. I'm gonna start bringing other artists in, because it was like I've only been the DJ for all of them because like I could like there was no budget to like pay other people to do it, just because it was growing. But it's sort of the same idea as the studio, where it's like I want it's like Rhode Island focused. It's like something for Rhode Islanders. And it's also to like bring a spotlight to Rhode Island, and like
100%.
there you don't have to be from Rhode Island to go. Like there's a ton of people on the list, like a ton of Massachusetts, ton of Connecticut, ton of New York, New Jersey. There are people like in Miami. Like there was this group in Miami that had messaged me that they were like, "Yo, like me and like 8 of my boys are flying up from Miami to come to this thing," and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like
People just want to party, man.
I know, which is wild. I'm like, God, I fucking hope it's worth it, and I hope that it all like happens.
It's that FOMO. You create that FOMO of like people have that fear, literally, of missing out. Like they want to be a part of this. It seems special. It seems very like secretive and like exclusive, and it's like different than anything that they know. It's not just a stereotypical thing, and they want to be a part of it. And that's that moment you create. Like I remember every time you post, people text me. My boy, the recent one, Jordy, texted me. He was like, "Yo, like we gotta go to this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know who's doing. That's my guy, it's Nick." Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, but what the hell?" But like, it's almost like they discover this thing, like the art of discovering, like that feeling of like this is something cool that's happening here in our state. Like what's going on? So I applaud you for doing it. I think it's a genius concept, man. Like
Thank you,
I
bro.
love that you did that. Like I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, "Who's doing this?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is him too. It's the same." Oh, I'm like, "Oh." It's fire. It's genius, man.
Damn, thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that, and yeah, I'm excited for them to keep going, and I just love, like, I hope it's like I think it is like bringing people from like so many different walks of life and
Together.
like, you know, different touch points just to like together to just like enjoy music and
Yeah.
like maybe hear some shit you've never heard before. Maybe hear like your favorite shit you love and, you know, are finally able to hear it.
You could do a lot with this, bro. This could be something that becomes, like you said, like it brings people to Rhode Island. Like, let's say the next Addison Rae album, you throw a secret party here, and then people get to hear it first, like a week before it comes out or a month before it comes out, something like that. Like, you could do so much with this. So I could just see it. Just yeah, the wheels are turning.
No,
in my
that's
head.
it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
For real.
it's fire. It's very, very fire, man. I salute you, Nick. Any last words you want to tell the people, you know, watching, especially in Rhode Island? You had the floor is yours. You know, we appreciate you for coming through today. You have so much significant like stories, and now you're, you know, obviously someone that's a part of the industry, but here, you know, home. And I'm so happy to hear you're here because I thought I'm like, oh, maybe he lives out there and just travels back and forth. But I'm so happy to know that you're here, like you're really like living here and back at home in Rhode Island. So we definitely got to tap in more. But anything you want to tell the people that are watching like right now?
Thank you, man. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here, be able to like talk about this. Yeah, man. I just really want to say that like Rhode Island is the place, and like I really feel like it's my mission to really make this a place that if you're doing, you know, I can only really speak for music, but for me, I'm like, you know, if you're doing music here, there's so many talented people here, and you know, many talented people everywhere. But I think like just to you know have gone through the like how do you get to Rhode Island like to being able to you know do music for a living and doing it in LA,
Yeah.
like I want it to happen here. I want to like really create a bridge to be able to do that and really make it possible. And I've already met so many unbelievably talented producers, writers, singers, everything here, which just only like it like reaffirms the thing that I always knew of like this. There's so many amazing and talented people here, and like it's I hate to think of like you know all of the amazing talent that would maybe not have an opportunity to do it or just like convince themselves to like spend the time on it. And I really hope that like you know both like people reach out and you know want to come to the studio at Belcourt and like just you know tap in, and because we're doing this, it's gonna happen here, and like this is the thing, and you know there's no reason that Rhode Island couldn't be another like you know Virginia Beach of like just amazing
100%.
music coming out of like one concentrated place. Like there's no reason that
100%.
it shouldn't be us, you know.
100%. But we have all the tangibles here to just make this shit happen. Like I've always said it. Like there's so much here, and you know I know so many people that leave. They go to LA. You know they go to New York. Artists specifically, like singers and rappers who have left, you know, years ago, and now they're back. You know, they're back home, and like they realize like that, you know, that idea similar to your story, where it's like you know they miss home. There's nothing like home, and you know they feel like they can make it, you know, move and shake out here, and they've been doing it. You know, they're getting their attention, especially now with social media, the power of social media. You just gotta know how to use it, and that's why I applaud you because I think you use it extremely well. So
Thank you,
I
bro.
think that that's something that people gotta realize and be remembered. You know, you have the whole world in your hands, so never feel like you're from the smallest state in the country, you know, and you can't make it anywhere or you can't do nothing. Is like no. You know, you could do plenty, especially in this industry specifically where you know you want to be a producer. You can be like Nick, man. You can just put the work in and get yourself out there, message people, connect with people, and you know, be from Rhode Island, but be now a Grammy nominated producer, and way more to come. It's gonna go from nominated to winning. We're gonna be here reporting one day the Grammy winners are like, Nick won an award. It's gonna happen, bro.
Thank you, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much, man. Really, that really means a lot.
No, it's gonna happen, brother. It's gonna happen because I could just tell you're very genuine with what you're doing, you know, and that's the thing that pushes people through, especially just throughout all the years. Like you're worth, you know, you don't care about like just waiting to put the work in, and actually, you know, you're not necessarily like just like desperate or just you know grasping at everything, and you know, or just trying to be like fake with it. Like I could just tell. So I really, you know, you got our support over here, and definitely. Not your last time on here, Nick. You're more than welcome to come through again. The door is yours.
Oh,
It's always open.
I would love to. That really means everything, man. Thank you so much. Thank
Listen,
you.
Give a round of applause for Nick coming through. What's your handles? Give the people your social media real quick.
At Nick Sarazen on everything. It's a weird name, but it's Nick Sarazen.
And any new music soon? Anything, something soon maybe that you can say that it's already been announced or coming soon or anything?
Yeah, it's my record label that I started here. It's in Rhode Island. It's called One Door Records, and our first artist, my wife and I signed. Her name is Julia Steinway Adler. She's incredible. We're working on her album right now. All made in Rhode Island, and it's all making music with songwriters and producers that I love. That if they want to work on it, they have to come to Rhode Island.
Fire.
And yeah, it's like it's some of the best music I've ever made, and I feel like she's a once in a lifetime artist, and she's from Rhode Island. She's from North Kingstown.
Fire. Okay.
And yeah, I can't wait for it to come out.
We're gonna check it out. Send me some stuff after this. I'm definitely gonna check it out. We'll play it. We'll play on the podcast too. We're definitely gonna check out her music. But I'm gonna walk him out. But we appreciate it for coming through. Shout out to Nick. And that's right, you guys heard it. We tell you all the time. You always say Rhode Island, and you guys, what's going on in Rhode Island? You guys, no, there's plenty. And we brought you another example here. So shout out to Nick for coming through. We're gonna return back to some of the topics on the live stream real quick. Let me walk him out, guys. And that was a clip from our podcast, the Club Ambition podcast. Cap, if you're looking to watch the full episode, make sure to go check it out right now. It's available on audio and also on YouTube.